Hold on. Let us give you a round of applause.
My name is Manuel Coronado, and I want to know from all of you, of those who work, do any of you make less than $9 an hour? Because I think that would be outrageous. What I find kind of crazy is that in Japan, anime artists, they make $1.53 an hour, and I have no idea how they cover their living expenses. Before I introduce my artifact, a little history about Japanese artists. During World War II, the Japanese government forced those artists to make propaganda posters, in which they would oppose opposing countries like against the United States and Russia when they were at war. After World War II, they though one famous anime artist named Osamu Tezuka made the anime called Astro Boy, which was like the first anime that gained popularity into the whole series. Now, first, I want to introduce my cultural artifact, which is my Attack on Titan sweater, and how I hope that I'm able to give you a better perspective on how anime is very impactful with me and also in Japan. First off, I'm gonna discuss how my anime sweater is resembles the anime culture and Japanese culture, as well as how it affects some ethical issues, and then I will discuss how I identify myself with that culture and how I identify myself with the Japanese culture. First off, anime has become like really prosperous for Japan, as in their merchandise has grown into many countries. Whereas when I was in Mexico, I was wearing this sweater, and these three girls came and asked me where I had gotten it, and I told them it was through Hot Topic. And my dad later asked me about why is it that they asked you about the sweater, and I told them that they were probably fans of the show as well. And like I kind of agree with what Jocelyn said a while back about her marching jacket. It serves as an icebreaker. Like you could talk to random strangers about whatever interests you like and which shows, even though you don't know them, and that's what I really liked about it. I identify myself as an otaku, which means an anime lover, because you're able to like meet many people, socialize, even though you don't know anything about them, and it serves as a mutual relationship where you advertise what you're wearing, and at the same time it encourages people to watch what you're into. Now, as for ethical cultures and how anime has an impact on them, it's like let's say the invention of the Oculus Rift, which is a headset that you put over your eyes, and it's supposed to let you play virtual gaming inside a game. So you're literally being the character inside the game. Now, an anime called Sword Art Online, it tackles that same theme, but where the director of the game, he decides if this is really a game, then why don't we make it a game? And so they're unable to log off from the headset. And so when they get killed in the game, the headset fries their brains and it literally kills them. So he turns into something which is really awful. After I discussed about how my anime sweater represents the anime culture and how it affects ethical issues, I will now discuss about how I identify myself with this culture and how I identify myself with Japanese culture. When I was 11 years old, my cousin first introduced me into this anime. Um, what really got me hooked into it was that the whole storylines and the plot lines, where there'll be like so many characters in which they'll be facing many things, obstacles. Some would also be like they would have animes on high school about what regular students like us face every day, whether it's shyness, public speaking, or meeting friends, socializing. And what I really liked was that it introduced like hardships and everything, where many of us really have trouble understanding. Now, how I identify myself with the Japanese culture is that many people who decide to learn Japanese in college, most of the reason is because through anime, because of they are watching it. And how there's a district in Akihabara, which is in Japan, that's an anime district, and they have so many stores of what they offer and sell, and as well as the and one famous reason is because of the one first anime I saw was that it was called Naruto, in which it was based on a famous bridge that they mentioned in Sect anime, but it's also a famous bridge right there in Japan. And I hope to go one day to the Akihabara district when I graduate after Castile. Now that I gave you a better perspective of anime, I hope you consider it better than being a regular cartoon. First, I discussed about how the anime, my cultural artifact, has an impact on anime culture and how it mentions ethical issues based on technology advances. Then I discussed about how I identify myself with the culture and how I identified myself with the Japanese culture. And what I really like is that I hope you all give a chance to different cultures, because you might think it's childish to be watching cartoons at such an old age or whichever interest you have been. But you never know, you might give it a chance and you might end up liking it. Arigato. Which means thank you.